Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to another skateboarding story. So today we're gonna talk about how I met Matt Hensley. Matt. M-E-T-M-A-T-T. Or is it? Yeah. Is it T-T? Matt Hensley. Is it one T? I think it's two T's, right? Matt? Like Matthew. Yeah, two T's. Matthew is M-A-T-T-H-E-W. So yeah, Matthew. Damn it. There's always a car coming every time I'm doing a video. Anyway, so two of my favorite of all times pro skateboarder or skateboarder in general, all time, Matt Hensley and Randy Colvin. Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about Randy Colvin first, and then we'll talk about Matt Hensley. So Randy Colvin, he was pro for World Industries and ghetto wear clothing. Yeah, he used to have there was a book called Bionics or something. But anyway, has like a mountain with a volcano coming out. So he had a graphics called Cobinetics. So back then, World Industries always copied a bunch of shit, and because skateboarding wasn't that big, that not too many companies really pay attention to like skateboard graphics back in the day. I'm talking like late 80s, early 90s. So no companies really pay attention, you know, like when they made the Henry Sanchez Terminator. That was probably the best skateboard graphics wise, because on the first layer it had a Arnold in the Terminator as the human, and then when you scratch the graphics off, it showed the T-1000 robot under. Yeah, it was, I don't know, man, that was very, like, back in the day, they actually had creativity, you know, graphics, and everybody like really went out of their way to make badass graphics, and you know, like that made like a memory indentation in your brain, you know. I mean, they had a lot of, like, the Brian Lottie came with like a rabbit's foot for good luck, and Ryan Bettino. These were two Plan B boards. The Ryan Bettino came with a cigarette. Yeah, it came one cigarette. And then like the World Industries, the one with the Mike Vallely came with Vallely with the sticker Vallely on it. Then they had another one where they had like a bunch of stickers, like in the city street, and they had like, yeah, it was crazy, you know, back in the day. And Randy Colvin was no exception, man. He had the only graphics that was censored, ever censored, in the whole, as far as today, as it like October, what, 22nd, 23rd, something like that, 2025. The only graphics that's ever been censored. I mean, they had like serial killer, had girls with boobs and shit. Rodney Mullen had a limited edition where he's riding a motorcycle and his girlfriend's standing up in the background with her tit hanging out. So none of those were ever censored, you know. But Randy Colvin was the only person that had a censored skateboard. So I remember getting that skateboard too. It was around 1990. I was in Arizona. I was living in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And they had a skate shop called Sidewalk Surfer in Scottsdale, Arizona. The way I met Randy Colvin was, there was this place called The Wedge. It was like a bank under a bridge. And he was really famous for like like rumors where he ollied the whole part of the thing. This is where you used to like push from the top where the pizza place was down, and had these cracks like this big that was filled with wood. But what happened is the water kept getting flooded over times. The wood was wearing down like this. I'll show you. See, like this. So they had cracks that big, and they had wood like that. And over time, the wood would wear down, and the crack would get bigger and bigger. See, like that. So the wood would get bigger and bigger, and the cracks would get harder and harder. You know, especially like myself, right? Like I ride really, really small wheels, you know, 50 millimeter, which is like, that's the smallest that wheels really make. Hardly anyone makes 50s. Only Spitfire and Mini Logo, and maybe, yeah, Bones Mini Logo is the same company. So anyway, everyone makes like 52, 54, 56 and up, you know. So I ride 50. So when you hit those cracks, it's not just one crack. It's like every maybe 6 feet or something like that, or whatever. There's a square block. So he would push and ollie the whole flat on the top of the wedge, and that was like impossible to do, you know, going from that way anyway. And then until some rollerblader figured out that if you go the other way, there's another way where you go downhill and you can ollie that. And he had a picnic table standing up, and he jumped over it on his rollerblade, and that kind of sets the, like, kind of like when Tony Hawk did the 900 in the X game. And that was like the most amazing thing, because he did it at the contest and in front of all these people, and he was recorded. And then Mitchie Brasco did a 1260, which is one more 360, and that didn't really get recognizable, not even close, not even like 5% of what Tony Hawk did with the 900. Now if you watch the vert ramp, every little kid, everything that does it, it's like they're all doing like that little kid Ema. He does like 900 back to back like 4 times. So it just tells you like the level of skateboarding, you know. So anyway, yeah, that's why I met Randy Colvin at the wedge, and just around skating around Arizona, you know, like Awatuki Ditch. He ollied another big old gap. He was known for like a badass, you know, in Arizona. Just meeting him like at Sidewalk Surfer, like at the skate shop. Like I said, you know, he'll be hanging out there, or at the Tower Skate Park, or just around Arizona, you know. You live in Arizona, you see him. I mean, if you skateboard. But that's how I met him. So it was really very, very cool. And used to go by his house too. He was living like up the street from the Scottsdale, by the skate park. I mean, the skate shop. He had this little ditch where he used to skate, and I would go there and like just picture like what tricks he was practicing, you know, where he got so good, right? So anyway, getting back to the censorship board, I remember too, man, because what I did is I worked at U-Haul. I worked at U-Haul in the morning as you know, cleaning and all that shit. What they call delivery and dispatch, where when the U-Haul truck comes in or trailer, and I inspect it and mark like scratches and shit, or how many miles the truck has, or how much gas it's got, or how much gas I got to fill, because we got our own gas pump in there. So we fill up so many gallons, and if they had a dolly, if they rented a dolly, or they rented a furniture, what do you call it, padding, you know, like how many, and you know, whatever, check in and check out and shit, and people come buying boxes and shit. It was cool because when I was living up there, it was like a rich place up in Camelback, Camelback Mountain. I'm so excited. I'm mixing up my words because I'm so like excited, you know. Just I don't know. Just I'm so happy. Like my skateboarding love is like over 1,000, you know, like over 9,000, right? So I'm trying to get all this out of my head. Yeah, up in Camelback Mountain, Alice Cooper used to live up there, and the guy that I work for, my boss, his son goes to the same school as Alice Cooper, son. Yeah, so it's funny. Like he told me about. He asked if I knew who Alice Cooper was. Like, yeah, some fucking glam rock dude. He wears makeup and shit, you know. So he goes, yeah, my son goes to school with him, his son. So yeah, anyway, it's kind of a rich place. So, not every day, but every other day or so, you know, I get tipped from the ladies. They come in their Mercedes, both station wagon and everything, and I would load the boxes up for them, and they give me like $2-3, and that was cool, you know. I was only what 18, 19 years old, so that was awesome. I don't know, $3 a lot. I don't know if I get any kind of money. People that give me any money for any kind of work that I do, I feel like, you know, I feel really appreciative, you know. But nowadays, when somebody comes, like I'll take a ride from the lift, I'll give them like $1, not $1, but like at least $2, $2-3, and they kind of like whatever, you know what I mean? Because they have it on the app, right? You're supposed to tip them and shit, like the Walmart Plus when they deliver your food and whatever. You're supposed to tip them and shit, you know. It's like normal now, right? But anyway, back then, yeah. And I remember she had her phone was hooked up to the speaker, and she was sitting there talking and shit. I had the hatch open, and you know, this is 1990, so it was unheard of, you know what I mean? Like a cell phone hooked up to a car. That was like Star Trek shit to me, you know. Like it was cool. Like I was like, wow, you know, this is amazing. I mean, I was never into like new cars and new technologies because I knew I can't afford it. So, but to see shit like that is like, wow, it's amazing. I mean, it's just crazy, you know. All right, finally getting back. So the thing I'm trying to say is, when I was working at U-Haul, I would save all my money. I was living with my sister, and I don't even know if she made me pay rent or anything. You know, I don't think she did. So all the money, I only worked like part-time at U-Haul. Well, I mean in the morning from like 8 till 1. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, so 25 hours a week. You know what I mean? All that money was mine. So I would always save it for like to buy a skateboard and shoes. Of course, had to be Vans, right? Because that's when I realized, I found out that you looked under the tongue on the shoes, says skateboarding #1 shoes, right? #1 skateboarding shoes. Just because it says skateboarding, which is rare back then, you know, like a big company to have skateboarding in the name. So I'm always been like a skate rat, you know. So anything that says skateboarding always sold to me, right? Even now, if I see anything skateboarding, I'm like, fuck yeah, you know. Like I said, man, 9,000 skate rat, man, 9,000%. So I always bought like World Industry boards and shit, you know, like Ron Chapman, Jeremy Klein, all that shit. So I heard Randy Colvin was coming out with the new skateboard, but I didn't know it was gonna be censored, because there's this lady that owns Sidewalk Surfer. Her name is Sandy. She started that skate shop because she used to roller skate. Like I said, by the wedge, there's like a riverbed thing, kinda, where they have a bike trail. You know, with that bike trail, people rode skateboard, people rollerblade. But in the 70s, she used to roller skates up and down that trail, and that's how she came up with that skate shop called Sidewalk Surfer, right? Because skateboarding came from surfing. When the waves were down, people like were thinking, what can they do, you know, while they're in the downtime? So they thought, like, they saw some roller skates, and they nailed the roller skates on a 2x4. Yes, that's a reference to Back to the Future, okay? The movie Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox. So they would ride down, up and down the sidewalk. So they're like surfing, but up and down the sidewalks. That's where the name came from, sidewalk surfer. And that's where then they changed it to skateboarding, you know, because you do your roller skates on a board, you know. So it went from a roller skate to a 2x4 board. So skateboard or sidewalk surfer. So all these names are like intricate, you know, together. So it all the foundation came from roller skate, right? So anyway, so she's like, yeah, I got the new Randy Colvin board. I'm like, where is it? She's like, oh, we gotta keep it down here on the bottom. So I was like, all right, I want to buy one. You gotta be 18 years old to buy this board, first of all. So the board, the skateboard, comes in a black trash bag, wrapped in a black trash bag, so no one can see the graphics. And he had a big yellow sticker, like this big, like a 4x6 sticker that says, "Censorship is weak as fuck." It's in black and yellow, the writing, yeah. "Censorship is weak as fuck." Had that slapped on the trash bag, the black trash bag. And she's like, yeah, you know, she's like, we can't have it up here displaying. So she wouldn't even let me open it at the skate shop. I couldn't even open it. Had to go outside, you know, like, you know what I mean? It was crazy, you know, like back then, like guns and marijuana and porn and heavy metal music and Satanism, like all this shit was all wrapped together. So anyway, I took it home and I opened it up and it had the graphics of a drawing, okay, of a drawing. Remember like Cone, that cartoon Heavy Metal? Yeah, I remember that. I used to get up like 3 in the morning, because my sister I was living with, she had HBO, and it's rated R, so they wouldn't show it until like 2-3 in the morning. I used to wake up right before school and watch that show, that Heavy Metal show, right? So it's like that kind of drawing, right? I guess it's kind of like a, I don't know, these days they would call it hentai. So anyway, yeah, I used to watch that shit. It was cool, man, because I was all into like Conan the Barbarian and shit like that, the cartoon, you know, the comic book. I used to get those all the time. I guess you could say I'm a pervert, but not really. I just appreciate art what it is, you know. God created man and women to look, the man to look muscular, you know, like tough, and the women to look skinny and an owl shape with big tits and you know what I mean, big booty and all that. Like, you know, God created man and women to be in his image, right? So that's how beautiful God is. But then he gave us a free will, fucked up free will brain that a lot of these people these days are all fucked up and thinking beauty is something else. But to me, even when I was little, you know, little young low, could appreciate the art, you know. And yeah, I had a picture of a lady, a picture of a lady laying down, of course with nice like 36D, 36 double D, you know, tits, and she was all naked and she was playing with a pussy, right? Her hand was down in a pussy. So yeah, that was the graphics that yeah. So that was the graphics of the Randy Colvin, man. I don't know, that's rare, man. If you could find that, I mean, it's probably a lot of money, but still. But to be in there, in that history at that time and getting that, it's like, I don't know, I think it's priceless. It's more than like if you have it, because I lived it, you know. And then he came out with another board, had a lady with the afro, with a black lady with the afro with a bikini, with a tiger on it, and it's made out of like velvet material. Like the graphic was all velvet, like material. It was crazy, man. and you can't board slide with the shit. It's like foam. It's like you know that foam spray that they spray like on the roof for insulation. Picture that, but on the graphics of the board. I remember trying to board slide that shit. I was pushing like 4 or 5 times, cause we don't use wax. You know what I mean? We don't fucking wax anything up. Like just try to hit like a ledge, like a raw ledge, with the foam material on your board, and just hauling ass, and just stuck, and just throw yourself like a tumbleweed. And we loved it, you know. We loved that shit, man. It had like spirit, you know what I mean? Like your trick and you and everything has like a spirit into it. Like you like commit, you know, like putting your whole blood and sweat into like even a fucking board slide. Even though like people doing like now, you know, nollie 360 heel flip to front board nose slide, nollie kick flip out and shit like that. But I mean, that's just adding to the layer, right? That's like in a piece of cake, and then you put in frosting, and then you put in strawberry and blueberries and whipped cream on top, and then you add some more I don't know, bananas and kiwi, and then you know what I mean. It's still, the foundation is the cake, but you're still adding more shit. It's pretty much what the tricks are today. But back then, you know what I mean, it was like you do a slappy, you're pushing at least 4 or 5 times, you know, like hard. Like it's not half-assing anything, because nowadays people just sit there and wax this shit up, and it's like you could just go half push and slide the whole thing, right? And then they just like their foot are pinching like this, you know, like to set up to do whatever they're gonna do, 360 kick flip out or an ollie kick flip or whatever. You can see the foot, like you couldn't do that shit back then, you know, because we don't wax shit up. So you just, only thing you see is like the foot and everything, like just like pressure on, and the veins are like popping out of their legs and shit, their foot, and just hold down, you know what I mean, like just trying to get that shit to slide the whole way and just pop out, right? So I mean, it's basic, but it's solid, you know. But I mean, you got to change with the time. The time now is everything expect you to flip in, flip out. So, you know, if you're in the competition, you got to do that shit. So yeah, man, that's pretty much the Colvinetics saga. All right, part 2. Now we're getting to the Matt Hensley, the real. Now the video starts. So Matt Hensley, I started skateboarding in 1985. Okay. When I was 14, and there was a lot of like, they call it shape board now, like their shape with like either a blunt tail where they're flat on the bottom, with a round nose or a square nose, like the Krishna Soy would have a square nose with a square tail to do like tail blocks. A lot of times they had short noses because when you skate pools in the shallow end, it's very steep. So when you're coming down, doing a wall ride or kick turn or whatever, front side or back side or whatever, when you come down, if the nose is too long, you're just gonna go straight into the ground, right? And they make the tail really steep, so you can push on the tail to get the front of the nose to clear on the bottom. And that's where the design came from, pretty much. That's why they had small noses, because it's all about pool skating, transition skating, like vert skating and pool skating and quarter pipes and launch ramps, like that. So we didn't really do any switch skating or nollies or anything like that back then. So that's how the board used to be. So board brands were just, you know, like Vision. So I had a lot of Vision boards. GNS, I had a Billy Ruff, a pink Billy Ruff. My first skateboard was actually a Jeff Grussell. What's that? Is it the Sims Jeff Grussell? Yeah, Sims or GNS, I don't know, the one with the block. You know what I mean? That was 1986, so you know, I got the blocks. Anyway, Jeff Grussell, rest in peace. But later on, I started seeing the video Bandis and Search Van Mochin, so I started getting a lot of Pau Peralta, especially the one with the skull and bone, the skull with the knife, with the sword. I had that board. I remember they didn't ground the edges of the board to make it round. So a lot of power boards back in the day was kind of squarish. So when you try to do anything and you land like sideways, it would delam. The boards would like peel in half. Like the edges would peel up and crack, right? And they had this gimmick called XT, Pau Peralta XT. It was like a gimmick, so you could sell it to you for more, right? Or this is a piece of like when you do the roofing, they got that tar paper. Yeah, in between the plies, they put that tar paper in between it, and they call it the XT, and they could charge you more. And they're still doing that shit right now. You know, they're doing the flight deck, right? Flight decks are like over $100. I don't know, like, I'm not really into like gimmick shit, so like I said, you know, Pau Peralta and all these other companies, and Santa Cruz doing a VX, right? VX now, Santa Cruz VX, which is like a Pau Peralta flight deck. Yeah, so all these people trying to come up with all these technologies and this and that, and you know, so you can charge more, and people buy it and they like it. It's great, you know. But anyway, I was getting power boards, a lot of Pau Peralta boards. So I was like, we even started our own little gang called Street Brigade, because Pau Peralta had a Bones Brigade, right? They had Tommy Guerrero, Mike McGill, Tony Hawk, Lance Mountain, and Steve Caballero, right? The 5 guys. So we had 5 guys too in our team in Clovis, New Mexico. Just a little town in Clovis, in New Mexico, 30,000 people. So we used to go to like Texas, to Lubbock, Texas, and Amarillo, Texas, and we used to spray like. I actually, in my shop class in high school, there was this little spot where you could put like, you assemble like parts, right? They had all these metal tables around, and there's a nice wall. So I painted Street Brigade, right, on the wall with a spray paint, but I didn't realize how big it was. It was huge. And my shop teacher was like, "You're not going for lunch. You're gonna clean this shit up." So for my lunch break, I didn't get lunch. I didn't use like WD-40 and shit and wipe the wall. Yeah, I painted Street Brigade. Or like locals only, you know what I mean? We're like, yeah, man, that's the skate rat mentality, man, you know? I guess the tagging came from because, you know, when I came to America, you know, in 1980, we came to New York City, right? And the first place that we stayed at was Bronx, right? South Bronx. And when I first came, you know, I never seen one. I mean, I think there was a black lady that lived across the street from us. She had a black and white TV. I remember people say she was a witch because she was a black lady, right? Because you know, I mean, you know what I mean? There's no black people in Laos, right? You're talking the 70s. But she had a TV, a black and white TV, and we used to go across the street to watch the TV. And she would charge us like, I don't know, here it'd be like 50 cents, right? Just give me an idea. You know, the currency exchange is different from each country, but I'm just giving you like how cheap it is, right? 50 cents is cheap, right? So you get to sit on the dirt floor and watch this black and white TV for 50 cents. And I think it was like, you know, like Mr. Ed, the horse that talked. Yeah, it was something like that. But I was never into that shit, so I think I went there once. But anyway, I came to New York City, and all we saw was fucking black people, dude, everywhere. But I didn't really see it, you know, see them as like, oh, fucking racist, right? What I saw was a bunch of these black guys, but I didn't see them as black people. But they had like those kangaroo tango hat and the Adidas jumpsuit, right? The jumpsuit with the long like thin jacket with the zipper and the long jogging pants with the stripes. I think it was like almost like LL Cool J style, you know. I mean, but LL Cool J I think copied those guys because they're way before LL Cool J was even fucking born, probably. So anyway, I saw him. They had this big old boombox, you know. Here's me. Didn't even know the language. I knew a little bit like ABCs and shit. So I'm walking, you know, down the street in the Bronx, you know. 9 years old, fucking fresh out of the boat from the refugee camp. And I hear this beat, you know, like this rap beat coming out of this big boombox. This is way before, like, you know, Do the Right Thing, you know, the movie Do the Right Thing with Spike Lee, with Public Enemy blasting shit, way before that shit. I saw all that shit live, you know, in front of me, this little kid. And then I saw him like breakdancing and shit, doing backspins and twirls and shit like that. And this guy in the background like doing graffiti, you know. And that's where I got the graffiti idea from, right? Like that, like whether you know it or not, when you do something in front of kids, good or bad, they remember that shit. You know what I mean? Action speaks. So, seen all that shit. Plus, I love karate, right? Like, I mean, not karate, but kung fu. The way kung fu moves, the way they fight. You know, choreographed. I can't even say that word. Choreographing. You know, where they just fight with scenes and instead of nowadays everything's all like, because they don't know how to fight, so they have to, especially the girl boss, right, they got to focus real close to their hand, their arm, their face, that, you know what I mean, they don't do long view filming because they can't fight, right? Even like in the Matrix, you know what I mean, Keanu Reeves, he took like some classes and shit, you know, to make it real, right? But even that is not that real. But you see a real kung fu like Jackie Chan and shit, right? When you're doing all these crazy stunts. So I see that when I'm remembering the kung fu movies, and then I see these guys. Like I don't even see them as like Asian kung fu and then a black breakdancing, right? I just see them as like human being, you know, just another person doing some badass shit, right? Like some rad shit. Like I want that, you know? I want that. You know, breakdancing and shit. You know? It's like this, right? I'll show you. So walking across, right? These guys are like, right? And then they get into like, start twirling and shit. You know, like, then they go to the back, start spinning and shit. Right? I'm like, oh man. I'm like, fuck yeah, I want that shit, you know? Looks so badass. And just shh, and they battle. And once I got into school, you see kids like battling each other. I remember some dude had like he was smoking. Remember, this is like 5th grade. So you're talking about like 10, 11, 12 years old, you know, they're like, some kids just smoking. And you were like, and he blew the smoke in the guy's face. And the guy would sit there like that. Because after you get done, you do a pose, right? And sometimes you just have to stand there. That's just part of the battle. And the next guy battle, and then he battles in front of you without touching each other, you know what I mean? Just doing his battle. Anyway, he blew the cigarette in his face. I thought it was like the coolest shit. But that still didn't get me to smoke or drink because, you know, I didn't have no money. So I always thought like that shit was all like a waste of money, you know? So that's why now, you know, I save all my money and I buy, still today, you know, I buy skateboards and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I have like a purpose now. So now getting back to where we were like 10 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago. So yeah, I was skating Pau Peralta a lot. And then after Bandis and the video Bandis and the video Search Animal Chin, my friend Richard came, he brought a Shaku Me Not, 8th Street video. Shaku Me Not, like 1989. And then I was watching it, it was like, and so it was like 8th Street, right? Like the name street, like, oh, fucking, cause you know what I mean? So I was thinking Street Brigade, right? So that hit me already, cause it says 8th Street. Because 8th Street is like, they started at, because I guess the street where they were living at was called 8th Street. So they're like, oh, we'll just name the fucking company 8th Street. But to me, I just saw street, right? Like, oh, fuck yeah, cause you know, like Bones Brigade. So I took the brigade from the Bones Brigade, and I take the 8th Street, the street from the 8th Street, and put Street Brigade. So it's like, fuck yeah, that fit perfect. You know, I'm only like, what, 16, 17 years old, right, by then. So now I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. So then I saw Matt Hensley, Steve Ortega, right, Sal Barbier, I mean, that's later, and then another video called Hocus Pocus after that. That's when Matt Hensley really shined. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. So every time I saw anything with Matt Hensley on it, in a magazine, I rip it out, put it on my wall, right? Like, I had every Matt Hensley picture on my wall. So, and then after that, you know, like I said, I went to Arizona. So I still rode, like, I remember I had the first Danny wakeboard, the one where he had the old man in a hand like this, and it's got a little like the fucking Elton John song. You know, the almost famous movie, Tiny Dancer. Tiny dancer in my hand. It was like a mid-size, I think it was small. So 8th Street was started with Tony Magnuson, which is a vert skater, and Mike Tanowski. Mike Tanowski wanted to do like more of the street style, so he did more of the street, and then Tony Mag was like more of a vert. He got like Danny Way, you know, on his team, on his side. Mike Tanowski had like Matt Hensley, right? Steve Ortega, Sal Barbier, right? Alfonso Rawls was on Tony Magnuson's side. What's his name? From Arizona. Fuck. Can't remember his name. Cookhead Jenkins. Damn. He's got long hair. Hawaiian. Damn it. It's gonna bother me now. I can't remember his name. Because, like, I skate with him in Arizona all the time in the vert ramp. Damn it. Anyway. So 8th Street was like the shit, man. And Matt Hensley, when he does his trick, he goes like this. Right? Because everyone had their own little, like Cardio has his finger, like arm like this. Cardio always does this when he does his tricks. So when you look at the silhouette, you can just tell who's who, right? Like Matt Hensley had the cheek thing. John Cardio had the arm, the hand up, like he's doing a kung fu brace. So I would mimic that. Like if I was doing a trick, trying to mimic Matt Hensley, I would like put the cheek out, and he would wear like chain wallet. I remember buying like chain wallet to put it on. But I didn't wear it anymore because every time I sat on a chair that had like some kind of a graded chair, you know, it had like gaps in between, the chain would always get caught when I get up, and it would hold me down. So it looked cool, but for practical function, it sucked. So I took it off. And not even that, you're advertising thieves that you have a wallet, you know. And thieves are like, oh, this guy got a chain wallet, it's got a wallet, so it must have money in it. You know, like entice them to rob you and shit too. But I'm probably over exaggerating, but I don't know, that's what it came to me. So yeah, and then I saw H Street a couple of times. They came to visit Arizona, but because Kobe Carter, he's one of the H Street rider, but he's one of those guys like Noah Selasnik. He won the Terror of the Tower, 1989-90. He was a pro skateboarder, pro snowboarder. Like nobody even knows who the fuck that guy is. Like other than that contest, after that even he got first place. No one remember him. People remember like Mike Carroll, Ron Chapman, Jeremy Klein, Max. Anyway, there's a bunch of Ed Templeton, Sean Sheffy. You know what I mean? Like those other people, everybody remember more. But Noah Selasnik, if you ask him, I don't even think anybody, not even 1.000% would know who that guy is. He was yeah, so he got first place at a tower because you know back then it was all like fucking skate park monkeys, you know. Everything was all transition, right? Plus he's a snowboarder, right? Pro snowboarder. So all he did was all his pro snowboard trick, you know, like a bunch of twists and turns and 360s and 540s and shit like that. So he won because everybody else like Mike Carroll, Sean Sheffy, Ed Templeton, they were doing like street tricks, right? And so it didn't look as impressive, you know, as like a fucking 540, right? So anyway, that just tells you that if you stick with the core of skateboarding, you know, you will impact it more. Like if you work hard for your skateboard tricks instead of just going the easy way, right? Just do the trick because it's impressive and shit. Like a Benihana, right? I mean, it's badass. I mean, if you're doing a demo, you do a Benihana, that's a 10 out of 10, you know? But if you're skating and you put a Benihana in your video, that's a 1 out of 10. You see what I'm saying, the difference? So if you want to win a contest, just do a bunch of Benihanas and shit like that, and you win. Benihana variation, right? Benihana finger flips, airwalk finger flips, airwalk Vario 540s, finger flip, sex change, you know what I mean? So those are all like contest points, tricks, but for you to impact the skateboarders that skateboard every day, those tricks are like non-existent. It's nice to have just when you go do demos, you know what I mean? Those are tricks that you pull out of demos. But for like everyday skateboarding, no, you don't pull that shit out, you know what I mean? It's like, they call it a clown trick, right? One trick pony trick. But it's cool to do because it's one of those that just middle of nowhere, you know, you do it. But so Matt Hensley always had that solid, you know, like all the tricks he did. Like I remember there was a picture of him. There's a quarter pipe like this and a handrail going down. He went up the quarter pipe, ollie, and it's 50-50 down the handrail. And then he picked his board up like that, and I was like, yeah, going crazy, right? So then I moved to California, 1991-92. I met my friend Mario. So this is 8 years, okay? 8 years before I met Matt Hensley. I didn't even think I was gonna meet him, you know? I even went to School W and I didn't see him. So my friend was doing a skateboard contest. And he used to have a pro contest called NSA, National Skateboard Association, that was ran by Tony Hawk's dad, Frank Hawk. And then he passed. When he passed, they just gave that thing away, you know, like nobody wanted to do it. But there's this lady named Sonia. She did the amateur part of it, which is CASL, CASL, which is California Amateur Skateboard League. And my friend Mario was doing that. So I met him, and he he had a skate shop. So I used to go over there and hang out with him all the time at his skate shop. And he had a backyard ramp, and I'd go to his house and ride the ramp and everything. And eventually he took me in and went to do all these contests, you know, like just help judge the contest and help set up the contest. He helped me, he taught me how to build ramps. I never used a circular saw, you know, I was scared, like, you know, because the shop teacher would have like 4 fingers, right, that was teaching shop, and and they had those band saws and all that shit. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? I was scared of that shit. So yeah, he taught me how. I used to cut when I built my ramp in Clovis, New Mexico, with my brother-in-law here that I live with, and my sister, in their backyard. I used a jigsaw to cut the transition, so it'd be all like this, be all wonky. But you know, we didn't give a shit. It was close enough. It's like a kid, you know, helping bake a cake, right? You know what I mean? The frosting's all fucked up and it doesn't look the prettiest, but hey, it's a cake, right? It eats the same. It's the same way, you know, with the half pipe. But my friend Mario taught me how to cut that shit like perfect and how to use screw guns and everything. So that was part of Vans. You know, Vans shoes. Vans used to be a company called Van Doren Rubber, because the guy that was doing it, his last name was Van Doren, and he used to have a rubber company in Orange, California. They were selling like rubber, I guess, like tires and shit like that, tires and inner tubes and stuff like that. And eventually they made shoes in 1966 up in Orange, California. My friend Mario was telling me he used to go up there and buy shoes from them, because they used to have like an outlet out there. Anyway, Vans used to sponsor castle contests, and Vans was like, it wasn't a cool thing to ride for Vans, because everybody got Vans, right? Like when I went to judge for the contest, we get a certificate. We don't get to pick like whatever shoes that we want, but the ones they give us, just the plain whatever Vans shoes. Just put your size and fill in your address, and they send you a pair of shoes for judging the contest. And I would always wear Vans, right? Because that's what happens. And Vans was so bad, like around 90, was it like 97 or something like that? We were doing 1997, 98. We were doing a contest in Venice Beach, California. And I think Mike Carroll was pro for them. He had a pro shoes for Vans, and it was so lame. Those guys were like cool back in the day, you know, like girl skateboards. You started girl skateboards back then too, and like they were the cool guys, right? So they had a big box van that came to give shoes out to all the people, the sponsors and everything, and give them away, you know, at the contest. And they got a bunch of them. They put in a big pile of like a bonfire, and they lit that shit on fire in the middle of the parking lot. Yeah, they set all these Vans shoes on fire. I don't know if it's protest or just telling Vans like they suck or lame or whatever. Yeah, so skateboarders kind of like took it for granted, you know. They were like the cool guys back then, because you know, this is like in a mix of like X Game was coming out and vert skating started coming up, you know what I mean? Like, because they were dead in the early 90s, 92, 93, vert skating was dead. When H Street came out, vert skating was dead. Yeah, that's why H Street broke up and went to Plan B. You know, they became Plan B, part of World Industries, and 101, you know, Blind. Yeah, so World Industry, Dwindle Distribution and all that shit was like, you got Almost Skateboards, you got A-Team. And now they sell they were selling at Ollie's, the store, all the Dwindle shit for like $5. Yeah, it sold out like first, second day. Yeah, they sold all the Dwindle shit. And I heard Element was, they sold a bunch of shit to Mayor's store. So yeah. So yeah, skateboarding got stupid, you know, and got too big, and then you see all these outlets buying this shit up. So anyway, doing all that shit. So 94, I moved there in 91, 92, and then shit didn't work out, so I left. I went from 94 to New Jersey. And then I got sick. My kidney only worked 10%. I was on dialysis in 96. 95 I was diagnosed, October, and then 96. And then 97 I told my friend Mario it was too cold in New Jersey for my dialysis. So he told me if I want to move back to California, he rented a 3-bedroom house. There's a room I could rent with him. And the way I pay rent was I got a little bit of disability back then. Like, I don't know, 600 or something like that. and then 500, 600. Plus, I was doing the contest with him. I was getting paid like $75 a day cash, plus free Vans shoes, plus hot dogs and soda, right, and chips to eat. So it was cool, right? I made like 3 days, so $225, right? Just doing something I love, you know. So we went to set up all these ramps and everything. We did the X before you get in the X game. You have to do the X trial. We did the X trial. We set up the vert ramp and the street course. People come and try out, kind of like right now how they have the tryout for like the jackalope, and then the Tampa Am that just happened last weekend. Like they had trials for those all over, you know, and then they have the Rockstar tryouts. So Vans was doing that for a long time, right? And then they did the Warped Tour too. So yeah, the Warped Tour, like we did Warped Tour everywhere. We did Warped Tour like in Las Vegas. So in California, went to Las Vegas and just up and down San Diego and up into San Francisco and all that shit, right? Up and down the coast. And in 2000, they did one right there in where I was living in Anaheim. That's where I was living, is in Anaheim. They did a Warped Tour right there. Just the typical Warped Tour in 2000. Set up the street course, and then we had the vert ramp. Yeah, I was good back then, man. Like I wasn't even trying, but because I was setting up all these ramps and building all these ramps and street course, and I'm at least 2-3 times you know, like a month we're doing these events. I mean, we built the DC ramp, which is the used to be the Plan B ramp. Now it's the DC ramp inside the Plan B warehouse. Yeah, it used to be Plan B. We built that. It's like 64 feet long, 13 feet. They had a 15 feet and a 17 feet. Yeah, and I was dropping in those all the way, even the 17 feet. I was dropping in with my 50 millimeter 101 Duro, and with like a 7.5 like blind deck, right? But because, you know, I was there building and I'm climbing and I'm always up in the air and screwing, you know what I mean? Like I'm up and down. So I was so used to the height, carrying like I was strong back then too. I was carrying a 4x8, three-quarter plywood. You know what I mean? By myself. Now I don't even think I can carry like maybe like a quarter masonite. 4x8, maybe I can carry it, but yeah, back then I was fucking strong, man. We're doing that, you know, 3 times, at least 3 or 4 times a month for years, right? And just being exposed to the vert ramp and all that, right? At the Warped Tour, getting like a, you know what I mean, standing on the vert ramp in the middle of the Warped Tour, right? They have like 3 stages. They have like the main band, the medium band, and the local band, right? Like all these different bands that play on different stage. And I'm like riding the vert ramp, I'm standing on the vert ramp, meeting all the pros, you know what I mean? Everybody that's in it, you know? And just, it was like, it wasn't, there's no social media, you know what I mean? Back then it was just, if you were there live, you saw it, right? So we did all that, and it was awesome, you know? And so I was standing there that day, just, you know, I was just skating the street course and just hanging around. There was no one there. It was just pretty much me. I was pretty much like the one, pretty much running like the place, right? I've been there for a while, so I was pretty much like, I don't know if you want to put a label, be like the supervisor, you know? I mean, pretty much me and my friend pretty much put the ramp together and everything. But, you know, label ain't shit. We didn't care or anything like that. So I was just standing there, and I see someone coming in on a skateboard, right? He had like a chain wallet, and he had like black, like rockabilly shoes. You know, the rockabilly, like the nanas, like a rockabilly shoes on. And he had like shorts and a chain wallet. And he came in and he ollied the pyramid. and he did his famous signature trick. He grabbed the tail and spin 360. So right now, if you didn't use your hand, it would be called 360 shove it over the pyramid, right? But he ollied, then he late shove it the board with his hand, and I knew right away. I already knew because from watching all these videos over and over and over and over, I was like, that's fucking Matt Hensley. No doubt in my mind. That's his trick. The 360 tail shove it. And then he kept riding around. Then he finally stopped. I'm like, no fucking way. That's Matt Hensley. And he came up to me. You know. I was like, oh, what the fuck? What's up, Matt? He's like, how you doing? I was like, my name is Lo. He's like, hey, Matt. Because he was in a band called Flogging Molly. So what happened was he kind of retired, right? After Plan B a little bit. After 8th Street and a little bit Plan B. I think after Plan B he retired. And he became like an ambulance, you know? Like an ambulance, you know, he worked as ambulance. He moved to Chicago. And he took up playing pool, you know, as a hobby. And he started playing that little organ thing that you put on your chest. The Irish organ thing, I guess, what they call. I don't know what it's called. So anyway, then he joined this band called the Flogging Molly. And they were playing on the stage at the Warped Tour. And it was, you know, they haven't went up there yet. So he was just taking a break. So he came, you know what I mean? He still got the skills, as you can tell. After all these years, he retired, like years, 5 or more years. And he still got it, man. I was like, so anyway, I was telling him, man, fuck, Matt. I was like, Matt, dude, you're my fucking hero, man. He's like, he was just, I don't know, I guess kind of feel weird, right? Like somebody just like all up into your face, you know, how I was when I met Nardis, right? In my other Nardis video. So I was telling him, yeah, man, I had this poster, the 2-page poster of you and Steve Ortega under the bridge at the Interstate 8 in San Diego. So they have this bridge and they have this underpass, a quarter pipe thing, and him and Steve Ortega brought a bunch of plywood to put under there so they can skate it. And then kind of like Mark Gonzalez, when he went up to the top of the car wash in LA, they brought a bunch of plywood and stuck it up there on the roof so he can go off of it into that steep bank in the LA car wash, famous LA car wash. So anyway, he had that, and he had a picture of him doing a frontside ollie, and had Steve Ortega in the background standing, and it's a 2-page out of a magazine. I ripped that out, put it on my poster, and I told him there was this other picture where he's doing an ollie on a cowboy hat in Seattle, Washington. So the story behind that was him and a photographer drove from San Diego all the way up to Seattle, which is 19 hours straight, right? Just to get that picture. Yeah, he drove from San Diego to Seattle, Washington. San Diego, California to Seattle, Washington. Ollie the hat, got in the car, drove straight back. Yeah. So yeah, that's, you know what I mean? And he couldn't believe like all the shit I knew about him. I was like almost a stalker, right? I remember I told him I had this picture of him doing like a nose manual on a corner of a ledge at night, and it's like see-through because they somehow set the shutter or the flash so that it only showed like where the street light was going through him. It was a badass picture, man. You know, like I said, man, people took time and create and took, you know what I mean? Even look, he drove all the way 19 hours just to get a picture and drove straight back. So I mean, the work, you know, to get these things, because people know that it doesn't last forever, you know? These things don't last forever. Like, you're not gonna be great forever, and you're not gonna be, you know, that moment. So I remember this guy, Matthew, was it Matthew? Matthias? I don't know. Anyway, I remember he used to like pack like outfits in his backpack when they go out for a photo shoot. Like he had the shoes, the pants, the shirt, the hat. Like everywhere he went to take photos, he had the outfit for it. You know what I mean? So that guy, oh, Matthew Mayhew. Yeah, he skated for I think what the well, he skated for like Maple, I think, like the San Diego company. And the D3s, remember the D3s? That was his shoes, right? Yeah, the Dave Mayhew 3s. Yeah, that was like the most iconic shoes. It's all puffy, big ass tongue. It's got big fucking lace hoops, like huge. Like where the lace goes, it's got like big hoops, like probably like 2 inches long by 1 inch. It's called the D3, and it was probably like $200. Probably the most expensive skate shoes that came out back in the day. And I think Tony Magnuson, you know, that did H Street, right? I think he still owns part of that or some shit. Anyway, I think there was a little thing trying to do a comeback, you know, nostalgic shit. But yeah, man, so I told him, like, fucking every Matt Hensley. Oh, the big poster, of course, can't miss that. At the Hocus Pocus, the second video of the H Street, they had a big poster they're giving out. It had a big red H Street in the background, and it has him doing like an Ollie 540, maybe a Caballero 540, some kind of 540 shit. He's in the air and he's got like an Ollie 1 foot, halfway of a 360. I had that poster on my back of my door, like everywhere I went. I took that's the only thing I took. Every time I moved somewhere, I took that poster. That was like one of the posters like that I really cherish, right? And then it's crazy because my friend Richard, he sent me like an H Street DVD and some stickers and shit, like around 2000, somewhere around there. I don't know if it's copyrighted or whatever, but the H Street thing was in blue instead of red, because the original was red. And then when he gave me all these stickers and even the DVD cover, it's got the blue H Street logo. I don't know if like they had an issue with something, because I know it's kind of off the subject, but so when Mike Tanowski passed away, because you know he did it for the love of skateboarding, and Danny Way took over H Street, Plan B. Mike Tanowski's wife was like, you know, that's my husband's company and I want some money, you know. So I don't know if she sued Danny Way or my sister's here. I don't know if she sued Danny Way or whatever. Check it out. There they are. They went to get to the noodle, some pho. Went to get some ingredient for pho. Get it for pho.
Pho and kochi pate.
Oh yeah.
Kochi pate dah pho. Oh, sikit dari semua. Boleh saya pakai.
Cái ho kịch lắm ạ.
เอาเปิดกดนะกระหอบสิแลลงมาแห้งกินน้ำ
Come on, boy. Squirrel. Got my sandwich. This is a Vietnamese sandwich. Oh man, this right here, this is the famous Vietnamese sandwich. They usually put vegetables in, but she took it apart. It's got like ham, pork, liver. It's a great lunch. Anyway, man, I don't know if she sued Danny Way, but she wanted part of it, so I don't know. It's like a mixed thing, you know? For me, I mean, whatever. That's just part of the game, right? That's why, like, in America, man, you have to sign. That's why everything got to be like stamped, court, signed, witness, everything, because, you know, instead of like, that's why a lot of skateboarders are like bitter, right? Because they didn't sign. All right, give you an example. In the Epic Later show with Ricky Ayola, right? Like he wanted to make East Coast. It was him, Sergio Janowski, and Matt Reasons, right? They wanted this is like early '90s, like '95. That's when I was living in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And he wanted to like hook up his friends and he wanted to bring them along because he was like a big dog back then, right? After Eastern Exposure 3, that's like the best part. You know, he's playing Metallica. That's when Metallica wasn't suing everyone for using their videos, like their music for copyright and shit, right? Yeah, Ricky Ayola, you know what I mean? His parts just blasting down the street, switch 360 kick flips and switch ollie shifty, and it was, you know, sick, you know. So he was big. So he wanted to come bring a lot of people with him, you know. And he's kind of like a hot-headed, you know, like quick temper, right? So the story was he's real big and everything, and he wanted to make East Coast, you know, like a thing, you know. In the mid-90s, that's where like East Coast started coming up. So, but then when he went to Australia for a tour or something, he got in a fight with someone in a bar, and I guess he hit somebody over the pool table, and I guess they jailed him or something, I don't know. Anyway, but you know, skateboarding changed so fast. After he was in Australia in jail and stuff, and when he came back out, everything's not the same, you know what I mean? Like, like Love Park was different. You know, the place, like, he used to be like, they think of him as like the mayor, right? Kind of like that show on, it's on Paramount? The King of Mayor or something like that. The King of something. The King Mayor or something like that. The Mayor of King, some shit like that. It's on Paramount. Yeah, so he came back and like nobody was, you know, like they kind of, a lot of kids, you know, they don't know who he is and shit. So he's trying to regulate the Love Park and everything, and so the whole point I'm trying to say is he didn't have anything in writing, right? It was just a word of mouth, like he tried to help everybody and come up and everything. But now that he was in Australia in jail and stuff like that, and when he came back, because he didn't have nothing signed or anything like that, so, you know, like all his sponsors kicked him off and everything, and then now he's like in his 40s and he's working delivering produce, you know, like with his dad's company, and he's got like 3 kids, and he's married, and you know, only thing you got to show for is like a book of stickers, right, of all the nostalgic shit. So I don't know, you know, it just sucks that some people get a short end of the sticks, but skateboarding will always be skateboarding, you know. And for me, I mean, it's good to see shit like that, and for me, I just learned by it that, because I made a lot of mistakes, you know, by letting big companies come in and me hating the company so much that I lost skateboarding, you know. My skateboarding got lost, and it just sucks, man. And now I lost all my skills. And only person that lost the shit is myself, you know. Yeah, I can't blame nobody because I did it to myself. I let companies get to me and, you know, get to my shit, and that's what happened. And if I regret anything, that's the only thing I regret, really. Is some people coming home. Yeah, man, just that's the only thing I regret, man. You know, when I was younger, I had a little bit of skills, and I let the corporation get into my head, and so I pretty much like say, you know, like fuck you, you know, being hardcore and shit, and now I got older and all my skills are gone, and that's the only thing I regret, really, is I think my skateboarding skill gonna be gone, you know, like zero. But hey, I'm coming back, you know what I mean? So I gotta look at the cup empty, right? Not even half full, cup empty. So I gotta look at it as like, hey, at least I got a cup, right? Said like, pour me a handful for a dime, right? You know, like that movie, I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. You got change for 100? How much are ribs? He's like $1.50, $1.50. Can I get one order? He goes, one order rib. And he goes, how much for a drink? Pour me a handful for a dime. And then he goes, what? You know? And then he goes, he pulls out a stack of 100. So he goes, got change for 100? I don't know. I don't know why I brought that shit up, but it's just funny. Some of the shit, you know, goes into my head sometimes. But yeah, man, I fucked up, but now I got a cup, and I'm gonna slowly fill the cup up, you know. And this time is even better, I think, because now I really appreciate how hard it is to fill that cup up. Before it was like, I just had a cup, somebody pour the whole thing and filled it up, and I wasn't even thinking about it. Now I'm like, I gotta actually go out, walk 5 miles to the well, put one teaspoon of water, walk 5 miles back, put in a cup, walk 5 miles, dip it in a teaspoon, walk back, put in a cup. That's how much that's how slow my progress is. It's still slower than, you know, I remember at church when I was in my teenage years at a Sunday school, and they ask, you know, say if you give yourself to Christ, you know, you live forever, you know, only through God, you know, through Jesus that you be saved. So they asked the Sunday school teacher, how long is forever? So the teacher told him, it's like a bird going to the beach, getting one pebble, fly that to the moon, drop it off, fly back, get another pebble, until the whole sand on the beach is all gone. That's a long ass fucking time. So yeah, so take that as an ender, and you know, always go visit your friends and family, because the dead do not need anything. Okay? Always have fun. You know, see me have fun, you see me quit. That's from the legendary Jeff Phillips quote, and I'll always keep that. And then from the Bruce Lee, always keep on rolling, running water goes stale. And from my Spitfire friend, I'll be keeping the underground lit for you and me. Alright? I probably forgot some more shit, but anyway, until next time, 2 more days, we're gonna do our badass skateboarding at the skate park. Road to the vert ramp number 9. I'll be looking forward to that. I got my sandwich ready to go for lunch. So I don't know. I'm still gonna go buy some chicken for my cat. Cat can have some chicken to eat. Anyway, see you guys.